Good morning and welcome to those of you who are joining this webinar about the implementation of AB 2927, the personal finance graduation requirement. I'm Tony Thurmond, and I'm honored to serve as your state superintendent of public instruction and to have been one of the sponsors of the legislation, along with the author, a former assembly member, now mayor-elect of Sacramento, Kevin McCarty. You're going to get to give public input. We want to hear from you. This is a very exciting time. As you all know, personal finance has so many benefits for the students of our state, and that this new graduation requirement means that they will learn all about personal finance, that students will have less debt, that they're more likely to go to college, and that in a very difficult economy in this world, it'll be great for students to know how financial markets work, and that this will help them to build skill. Recently I had a chance to be in Washington, D.C. with several other state superintendents and other national leaders talking about how do we reimagine what high school is about, how students learn, and what they learn. And it was so exciting to be able to talk about how a personal finance a graduation requirement will build skill that students will carry with them for the rest of their lives. There are some who have estimated that when students learn personal finance, their earnings will increase over the course of their lifetime by more than some $125,000. And so we're excited for this opportunity. Today, you're going to hear from our incredible staff at the Department of Education under the leadership of Cheryl Cotton, and the folks in the Curriculum Frameworks team, Dr. Mike Torres and others. They're going to help you understand what the process will be for helping districts to ultimately create their own curricula around personal finance. A model curriculum that we will curate will have lots of writers and partners, educators of all backgrounds will help to contribute to it. And then it will go through the IQC process and the state board. And of course, there'll be opportunities along the way for us to preview that and for us to help districts that want to get started early. There's some incentives for getting started early, and I want to share that with you, some great grants that are available. And I want to thank our friends at Next Gen Personal Finance and Tim Ranzetta and the team at Next Gen Personal Finance who've been helping us every step of the way. They're one of the main sponsors of the legislation, but they did something really interesting. They made some early investments in professional development for educators who want to get some training on how to teach topics related to personal finance. There are still some dollars available for those educators who want to go through that training. And you'll hear more about this today and other days. There are grants to help districts as we move forward to the implementation of the personal finance graduation requirement. And then there's some incentives to start early. For example, any district that commits now and starts working on that graduation requirement will get a grant of $3,500 to support some of your costs. Those who wait a little longer can get $2,500. But here's what's interesting. There are grants available up to $25,000 that districts can use as long as it's tied to personal finance. These are flexible grants that districts can use however they choose to, and whatever those associated costs are. So we thank you again, Next Gen Personal Finance, for making that kind of an investment available to districts to have those grants. We look forward to your input from our participants today, and we hope that you all will seek out the opportunity to start working on personal finance now, attend some trainings, do some organizing, be a part of the process to help shape what the model curriculum looks like and helping us march towards this incredible new opportunity for California students. So thank you all for being here. Having said all of that, I'd like to now turn this over to Cheryl Cotton. Deputy Cotton will take us through some additional steps of the way to get to this new and exciting graduation requirement. Thanks for being here. And here you go, Deputy Superintendent Cheryl Cotton.
Thank you, State Superintendent Thurmond, for all of your work leading up to this exciting day, for championing personal finance and your administration's initiatives. We're working to ensure today that we are ready to move forward. As the superintendent noted, I'm Cheryl Cotton. I'm Deputy Superintendent of our Instruction, Measurement, and Administration branch here at CDE, and I'm here to provide an overview of AB 2927, our Assembly Bill 2927, explain what it means in practical terms for our LEAs and for our work at CDE. The bill will require LEAs to offer a standalone one-semester course in personal finance at every high school starting in the 2027-2028 school year. The content and structure of this requirement will be guided by the expertise of classroom teachers through a process that will involve the IQC, or Instructional Quality Commission, that will be led by the Superintendent Thurmond and our team here at CDE. LEAs will also be authorized to require a full course in personal finance rather than a one-semester course. This bill would also revise and recast the list of financial literacy topics for the Commission to consider, including when revising the history social science framework as applied to the kindergarten and grades 1 through 12. The State Board of Education would adopt the curriculum guide and resources to support the standalone one-semester course in personal finance based on a curriculum guide and resources developed and recommended by the Commission. The bill also applies to the teachers who will lead this great work. It expressly authorizes an individual holding a single subject teaching credential in social science, business, mathematics, or home economics to teach personal finance courses, and would authorize the Commission to additionally establish a supplementary authorization that authorizes individuals holding single subject teaching credentials in other subjects to teach the above described personal finance course. Now, for a closer look at how the legislation influences the steps the department will take as it plans to develop the curriculum guide, I'm going to invite Dr. Mike Torres, our Director for our Curriculum Frameworks and Instructional Resources Division, to share his plan. Dr. Torres?
Thank you so much, Deputy Superintendent Cotton and Superintendent Thurmond. Thank you both for your leadership in improving student learning outcomes and advocacy for personal finance, such a very important topic. As the Director of the Curriculum Frameworks and Instructional Resources Division, I'm here to share with you the steps that the department proposes to take to develop the curriculum guide and to support LEAs as they implement this personal finance graduation requirement as identified in AB 2927. Our work in CFERD, as that name implies, focuses on curriculum frameworks and instructional resources, or the state-level adoption process of those resources. These are public processes conducted and recommended by the Instructional Quality Commission, or IQC, for the development of model curricula or a curriculum guide. The process will include very similar milestones to a framework. A proposed timeline of events for development of the curriculum guide will go before the State Board of Education at their meeting next month in January of 2025, which is when the timeline will become finalized and official. So what I'm about to share with you is still proposed until the State Board takes action on it. The work of the development of the curriculum guide does actually begin now with this public input webinar, which our superintendent has kicked off. The department will collect public input and propose guidelines that are based on that input on the development of the curriculum guide. The CDE will execute a contract with the writers who will begin the drafting of the curriculum guide based on the guidelines and the public input that we've received. A series of IQC Personal Finance Subject Matter Committee meetings will be held over the summer of 2025 to review drafts of the guide and provide feedback to the writing team. These meetings will be open to the public. In September of next year, the full Instructional Quality Commission will review the draft curriculum and will initiate a public review period. Then the commission will consider the feedback from that field review in January of 2026 at their meeting and make further recommendations or revisions. Commission will then review and recommend a more finalized draft of the curriculum guide to the State Board of Education in March of 2026, and action is expected at the State Board of Education's May 2026 meeting to meet the requirements within statute. So at this time, I'm going to ask Dr. Jennifer Bentley, the administrator of the Standards and Curricular Guidance Unit in CFERD, to discuss the specific topics the curriculum guide will include and share with you a set of questions that you can then use to consider to inform our process and submit public comment. So Dr. Bentley, passing it over to you.
Thank you, Mike. As Dr. Torres noted, AB 2927 makes clear the topics a future curriculum guide will cover, and those topics will play a substantial role in the development of the guidelines to be reviewed and recommended by the IQC in the next step of this process. I am going to review the topics called for in legislation now, and then share our plan for gathering additional feedback from you, the public, on how to approach these topics and any additional topics or guidance that you would like to see included in the curriculum guide. The list of topics included in AB 2927 include fundamentals of banking for personal use, including but not limited to savings and checking, and managing to minimize fees, as well as how to manage your account digitally. It also includes principles of budgeting for independent living, which could potentially include how to budget for housing and transportation, as well as how to budget for emergencies. Third, employment and understanding factors that affect net income. And this includes topics included in California Education Code section 49110.5 and the observation of Workplace Readiness Week, which is a period in which all public high schools, including charter schools, will provide information to pupils on their rights as workers. Fourth, the legislation includes uses and effects of credit, including managing credit scores and the relation of debt and interest to credit, and could potentially include the pros and cons of credit cards and how to avoid predatory lenders. Fifth, uses and costs of loans, including student loans, as well as policies that provide student loan forgiveness. The legislation also includes types and costs of insurance, including home, auto, health, and life insurance. Impacts of tax systems, including its impact on personal income, the process to file taxes, and how to read tax forms and pay stubs. It also includes principles of investing and building wealth, including investment alternatives to build financial security, including tax-advantaged investments such as pensions and 401k plans, individual retirement accounts or IRAs, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and index funds. Also included is enhancing consumer protection skills by raising awareness of common scams and frauds and preventing identity theft. Identifying means to finance college, workforce education, low-cost community college options, and other career technical educational pathways or apprenticeships. Financing options that may be covered include scholarships, merit aid, and student loans. It also asks us to include understanding how psychology can impact one's financial well-being, charitable giving, and then there's also an inclusion of the ability to include other topics that are directly and specifically relevant to personal finance. So these topics comprise one section of the public input document, which we are going to share right now with you in the chat. The other section of the document should seek to solicit your feedback on how curriculum specialists like yourself, district and school administrators, teachers can approach the topics, as well as ways educators can better prepare for and support the topic of personal finance. So the questions will be designed to gather feedback from you on what you feel should be included in addition to the topics that are asked for in legislation. So there's the QR code as well as the link to the web page, or excuse me, the email address that we're asking you to return your feedback to. And if you scroll to the questions, you'll see that there's the list of topics that are called for in AB 2927, and then the questions should be underneath that, that we would ask that you respond to and send back to us. Please use these questions in the question document to guide your feedback. And then we have an email that's dedicated here at CDE just for the personal finance, and that's personalfinance@cde.ca.gov. Your input is critical to the development of this curriculum guide. We are trying to make sure that there is as much public input from educators as possible, in addition to the topics that are called for in the legislation. And we're asking that you return your feedback by January 3rd, 2025 so that we are able to compile all of your feedback responses into guidelines that we will put to the IQC to be adopted and shared with the potential writers and collators of resources for the curriculum guide. Please share the questions with whomever you feel like would be appropriate to share them with. Share with them the webpage, and please ask them to also return their feedback to us. And now I will ask Deputy Superintendent Cotton to say a few words in closing. Deputy Superintendent Cotton.
Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. But again, please make sure that you're completing this document, the public input, answering the public input questions, and sharing this widely within your advocacy groups as well. Thank you so much to everyone for your participation today and your future participation on this project. We need all of your input to ensure that what we are providing to our students, again, is a life-changing opportunity for them. We appreciate you all. Thank you very much.